1945, the first computer. The first computer is the electronic numerical integrator and computer, generally referred to as ENIAC. And you can see here's a picture of it. It's a massive device, and it was the first electronic general purpose computer. This is a historical marker in Philadelphia, where it was built at the University of Pennsylvania, which associates to Ben Franklin. If you're not familiar, Franklin has his connections to Rosicrucianism as well. And we see here the invention of this first all-purpose general digital computer signals the birth of the information age. Now we have another historical marker, and this one is in Maryland, and it says how ENIAC was located at Aberdeen Proving Grounds. And what happened was ENIAC was built by or built at the University of Pennsylvania, but it was done and funded by the U.S. Army and to be housed at the Army base in Aberdeen Proving Grounds. And where is Aberdeen Proving Grounds? We can see it right here. It is located right where the Susquehanna River transitions into the Chesapeake Bay. Maybe this is about 4 or 5 miles. But this physical location is rather significant. This has been talked about in many videos. Another interesting synchronicity is this town right here. It's called Havre de Grace, Maryland. I'm going to switch gears for one moment. So Havre de Grace, Maryland is situated at the mouth of the Susquehanna at the head of the Chesapeake, and it is named after the port city Le Havre, I think that's how I pronounce it, in France. So what is this? Le Havre is a commune and city situated on the right bank of the estuary of the River Seine. So for any of you who have watched the Goddess Susquehanna video, you know that there is a correlation between the Seine River, originally known as the Sequana, and the Susquehanna. And this is just one more parallel. But back to the computers now. So we see the location is significant, and we can see here that the completed machine was announced to the public on the evening of February 14th, 1946. And so we can assume that it was 1945 that it was being built. And it was, which is why we start the presentation at 1945. And we can see that it was announced to the public after sundown on the 14th, and it was formally dedicated the next day, which would be February 15th. And this is significant because February 15th corresponds to Lupercalia, an ancient fertility festival, and their correlations to the god Pan. By doing it on a fertility ritual day, whether conscious or not, the idea behind it is so that it will propagate. And we're going to come back to this February 15th day later on in the presentation, and it's, in my opinion, rather spectacular. But let's keep on going. So now a little look at Enochian magic. We know that it's connected to Dr. John Dee. And this screenshot was taken from the Dr. John Dee Society, and they claim him as the founder of the Rosicrucian order. I've read other people being credited with that, so I don't know if he's necessarily the founder per se, but he certainly is connected to it. Probably the most well-known and experienced practitioner within Enochian magic is Aleister Crowley. And we're going to come back to this in a little bit, but since we brought up Enochian magic right now, we want to bring up Crowley too. So we see that ENIAC was intertwined with nuclear science from the beginning. And the first detonation of a nuclear weapon was done in 1945, and its code name was Trinity. And here's the Trinity site, and we can see this obelisk, which is located to market. We're going to come back to the Trinity concept in a bit as well. After the Trinity experiment, nuclear weaponry was used for the first and only time, or at least only time as it relates to an actual act of dropping a bomb, or bombs in this case, but in Japan on August 6th and 9th, 1945, 2 nuclear bombs were dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. And these dates will also come back into play later on in the presentation. The bombs were dropped from an airplane named the Enola Gay, and it consisted of a 12-man crew. And on the crew, the navigator's name was Theodore Dutch von Kirk, or Captain Kirk. I mean, literally it would be Captain Von Kirk, but we all know who Captain Kirk is, correct? And when we're looking here at the Starship Enterprise, we can see from looking above, there's this general similarity to John Dee's glyph. This is an exact match, but this always caught my attention. But back to the crew. So Captain Kirk, he is from Northumberland, Pennsylvania. And Northumberland, Pennsylvania is located right here at the confluence of the west and north branch of the Susquehanna. This is along with the location of where the river transitions to bay, where ENIAC is located. This is another significant location on the River Altar, and it's significant there because right here on Sunbury, across the river, is where the Edison site was. So this is where the first building lit with Edison's 3-wire system occurred. So let's go a layer deeper. So a little bit further down the Susquehanna River, we find a town in Pennsylvania called Enola, Pennsylvania, like the Enola Gay. And Enola, Pennsylvania, we can see on a wider map, is a handful of miles from 3 Mile Island. So again, we have this other connection between the river and with nuclear power and nuclear energy, and electricity for that matter.